Have you ever eaten something completely reasonable? A clean, crisp salad, maybe, or a handful of nuts, and then you watch in like real time as your stomach just immediately inflates into what feels like a regulation-sized basketball. You were so good. You checked the ingredients, and yet your body chose violence. Why? Why does the machinery betray us like this? Today, we are diving into what we're calling the gut apocalypse. Because that immediate discomfort, that, feeling of internal pressure, it's usually not just bad luck. It's a quiet civil war happening inside your gut where your microscopic security forces are. While they're severely outnumbered and probably losing the battle for real estate, we're going to focus on the core mechanisms behind bloating. It's not just an inconvenience, it's an alarm bell.
It's absolutely a siren call. That feeling of sudden bloating means something went undigested and is now fermenting wildly down there. And when two people eat the exact same healthy meal, but only one of them looks 5 months pregnant afterwards, the difference often comes down to one single thing: the health, the sheer diversity, and the sheer volume of their gut bacteria. We need to talk about what's been systematically destroying that ecosystem for years.
Okay, let's unpack this. I think we need to start with the digestive flow chart just to see exactly where the breakdown is happening. So let's set the scene. Food gets chewed, it slides down the esophagus, and it lands in the stomach. I always think of the stomach as like the highly acidic decontamination chamber of some very serious, well-funded corporation.
Yeah.
It is designed to be brutal.
It really is. And that acidity has a dual mission. One, it dissolves proteins, getting them ready for absorption later on. And two, and this is critical, that extreme acid is your body's first line of defense. It kills off any nasty hitchhiking pathogens before they can get any further.
Right. So once that acidic mush is processed, it moves into the small intestine. And this is the ultimate assembly line. This is where 90% of all digestion is supposed to happen. You've got the official employee roster working hard here.
That's right. That roster includes the pancreas, which is releasing enzymes to break down your carbohydrates and your proteins. And then the gallbladder is busy releasing bile to start the very complex process of breaking down fats. That's the standard textbook explanation.
And this is where it gets really interesting for me. The true digestive VIPs are hidden. We're talking about your resident microbes. They aren't just camping out, they are actively running the show, and we just forget they're even there.
Oh, absolutely. They are essential workers. Get this. They are responsible for manufacturing a staggering 20% of all the digestive enzymes you need.
20%? That's not a small number.
Not at all. And they're also crucial for creating what are called secondary bile salts, which are necessary for you to process fats efficiently.
And they also manage the environment itself, right? They make the place feel like home for the good guys.
Precisely. They produce beneficial acids, like lactic acid, which helps all the good bacteria thrive in that acidic gut environment. They are the climate control system.
So if you suddenly bloat after a meal that's high in fat or fiber, it means that this whole microbial assembly line just broke down. 20% of your workers didn't show up for their shift. And if we want to know why, we have to talk about the villain we all know, the antibiotic. Okay, so let's get into the great microbial tragedy. We have all operated under this assumption for decades. You take the antibiotic, you kill the infection, and your gut microbes just snap back to normal in a few weeks. That's the story we were told.
And that story has been completely, and I mean completely, debunked. The truth is, if you have ever had a course of broad-spectrum antibiotics, the original diversity and crucially, the amount of those microbes likely never returned to their baseline. They were permanently depleted.
When we say depleted, what are the numbers here? Is this like a minor dip, or are we talking about a full-on extinction event inside our bodies?
We're talking about an apocalypse. A single course of a broad-spectrum antibiotic can cause microbial losses from 50 to 75% across certain crucial strains. And for the real heavy hitters, like your lactobacillus and your bifidobacterium families.
The ones you always see on the yogurt pot.
Exactly. The famous ones. We see losses anywhere from 70 to 90%. And in some cases, for one specific species, it can be a stunning 99% loss.
99%. Wait, how is the body not just immediately collapsing? Is there a backup system, or is that 20% enzyme loss really what causes everything to grind to a halt?
That functional loss is exactly what causes the chronic issues. You've essentially fired 99% of your workforce. So you lose their critical contribution to enzymes and to bile processing. So food ferments, creating gas, bloating, and you also lose their protective function, which significantly increases your risk for things like SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth.
It's the ultimate insult, really. You take antibiotics for one problem, and you've just signed yourself up for years of chronic digestive misery.
And the impact goes way beyond the gut. If we connect this to the bigger picture, take kidney stones. The most common type is calcium oxalate. Well, there's this brilliant little microbe called Oxalobacter that literally eats oxalates in your gut. If that one microbe is wiped out by antibiotics, the oxalates build up, they get absorbed, and that can lead directly to forming those painful kidney stones.
So the scope is just massive, from bloating to kidney stones. But we've only talked about prescription drugs. Are there subtler villains out there, like saboteurs wearing a waiter uniform at our digestive dinner party?
Absolutely. We have to talk about the antibiotic mimics. These are substances we're exposed to all the time that behave exactly like broad-spectrum antibiotics. And the number one hidden culprit in our food system is glyphosate.
Right, which most people know as a widely used weed killer.
Correct. But here's the key piece of information people miss. It was actually patented as an antibiotic agent because it kills microbes. So when we ingest residues on our food, it's just this chronic, low dose of microbial attack on our system.
Which is bad enough. But here's where the deceptive trap lies, especially for people trying to eat healthy. We all assume buying non-GMO is the safe bet.
That is the ultimate irony, and it's so important to understand this. Glyphosate is often used more on conventional, non-GMO crops, sometimes up to 3 times as much right before harvest, just to dry them out. So you buy non-GMO thinking you're avoiding it, and you could be getting a much heavier dose.
That honestly makes going to the grocery store feel like an advanced tactical mission, but that's just one chemical. What else is on the secret hit list?
Oh, the list is long. We see impacts from common medications like birth control pills, steroids like prednisone, many depression medications, PPIs for acid reflux, even statins. They all have this ability to disrupt and reduce the diversity of our good gut microbes.
And then there are the environmental things we don't even think about.
Exactly. Even things like artificial sweeteners. We don't digest them, but our microbes sure try to. And fluoride in the water supply. Both have been shown to reduce specific beneficial microbial populations. It's an assault from every single angle.
What's really fascinating is that even the conventional wisdom on how long to take prescription antibiotics is starting to shift, which just underscores how destructive they are.
For sure. Traditionally, it was non-negotiable. Finish the whole 7, 10, 14-day course, even if you felt better after day 2. The idea was to prevent resistance. But newer research is suggesting that those long courses might actually contribute more to resistance by giving the surviving bugs more time to adapt.
So the new thinking, and obviously you have to talk to your doctor about this, is that if you feel dramatically better after, say, 3 days, stopping might be possible, and maybe even better for your long-term microbial health.
And just to complete the picture of how pervasive this is, 80% of all antibiotics sold globally are used for livestock, for the animals we eat, which means we are getting these constant low-level exposures just from our food, making it almost impossible for that microbial density to ever recover.
Okay. So our internal army has been bombed out. It's severely depleted by both prescription drugs and this hidden chemical warfare. So the solution isn't just about replacing every single missing piece. It's about creating the right environment. You need to send reinforcements, sure, but you also need to make the barracks comfortable enough for the remaining troops to show up for duty.
That's the perfect analogy. We focus on 2 immediate steps for direct replacement. First, a high-quality probiotic, especially during and right after an antibiotic course. Second, bringing in regular fermented foods, kefir, good yogurt, real sauerkraut, kimchi. These are the direct reseeding efforts.
But that only replaces a tiny fraction of what was lost. And this is where the deep dive secret comes in, the idea of dormant microbes.
Exactly. The majority of beneficial microbes in someone who's taken antibiotics aren't necessarily dead. They're just asleep. They're dormant because the gut environment's pH has become too alkaline. It's not the right conditions for them to thrive.
So how do you wake them up? How do you get them back on the clock, supporting that whole digestive assembly line?
You adjust the pH. By consuming acidic things like kombucha or a little bit of apple cider vinegar, you are gently lowering the pH in the gut back into that ideal acidic range. This is the wake-up call. It's the environmental signal that activates those dormant native microbes.
So if I'm getting this right, the acidity wakes them up, and once they're active, they just start doing their jobs again, making enzymes, helping with bile salts.
Precisely. And this instantly reduces the load on your entire system, your pancreas, your gallbladder, your stomach. But they've been overworking for years to compensate. By waking up the dormant microbes, you immediately restore that missing 20% of enzyme and bile capacity. and that relieves the strain that was causing all that bloating.
So what this all means is when you have some ACV or fermented foods, you're not just adding stuff, you're taking stress off your internal organs. Because your microbial team is finally showing up to help break down those tough fibers and fats. The whole goal is to give your digestive system its helpers back.
Exactly. The discomfort, the gas, the bloating, it's not just a sign you ate the wrong thing. It's a sign that the whole microbial foundation is compromised and just needs an acidic nudge to get back in the fight.
So we've uncovered this hidden impact of antibiotics and their sneaky mimics, and it seems like true digestive comfort really depends on maintaining a thriving, diverse, and acidic microbial world.
Which brings up a really important question. If things as common as weed killers, acid reflux pills, even fluoride in our tap water are all acting as these invisible antibiotics, how much control do we really have? Maybe the secret to winning the gut apocalypse isn't just cutting out gluten. Maybe it's about ensuring your internal acid environment is ready to wake up the sleeping army that's already living inside you.